Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here, and we are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Tuesday, March 8th slate of NBA and college basketball games. I'm super excited to hop into it because I do think we had a pretty good day as of yesterday. Overall, what can I say? Another 3-1 day. I swear, I'm the king of 3-1s. I can't get away from them. I literally go 3-1 all the time. But I did just want to go ahead and say thank you guys for allowing me to hit 5,000 subscribers. That truly does mean so much to me. But quick service announcement. I'm going to save the parlay for tomorrow because we have a much better slate of basketball tomorrow. And truthfully, there are like no lines that I really like. You'll see in my picks today, I have no spread picks for the NBA. I don't like any of the spread picks. It took me a long time to try to find these player props, and I just truthfully didn't really like too much of them. So we're going to be saving the parlay. I want to have a very good shot to be able to hit it, and if I'm not very confident in any of the plays, I can't really, I can't really feel confident, and I want to be able to give back to you guys at the end of the day. So I'm gonna wait until tomorrow, but it will be coming tomorrow. I promise you that, and I'm ready for it. I'm dialed, I'm locked in, and I've been red hot recently, so hopefully we can bring out the brooms tomorrow. Tomorrow's the day we bring out the brooms. But let's go ahead and dive into it. First, I did just want to go and say now we're on the road to 6,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Also, I did just want to give a quick shout out here to our members on the channel. Thank you guys so much for showing support on the channel, giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. You guys truly do mean the world to me, so thank you guys so much for that. So let's go ahead and do a quick recap as of yesterday. Like I said, another 3-1 day. We had Tyrese Maxey over 1.5 threes versus Chicago. Oh my Lord, what a sweat bet. He ends up hitting it in the last minute of the game. He hits like a fadeaway three, and he only shot 2 for 5, so he barely hit the over, just barely. But he ended up hitting it for us. Then we had Cade Cunningham over 18.5 points versus Atlanta. Once again, barely hit the over on this one. He ends up getting a layup with less than a minute left to hit the over, and it was so close. But I'm really glad that one did end up hitting for us. Then we had Dallas -1 versus Utah. Not really too much of a sweat for most of the game. Dallas kind of manhandled them for most of the game. So we had a clean sweep on our NBA bets. Unfortunately, our Gonzaga and San Francisco over, that one did not end up hitting, but I still thought it was a good bet. It was looking really solid up until about the final 6 minutes of the game. So I'm not going to complain about it. I still thought it was the right bet regardless. So let's go ahead and dive into today's plays. Like I said, I found a couple that I liked. But I didn't feel like overly confident with them, so I didn't want to slap in the parlay. But let's go ahead and dive into it. First play of the day, Jaren Jackson Jr. under 15.5 points versus the New Orleans Pelicans at -110 odds. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr., he has went under this line in 2 straight games, and he's went under in 4 of his last 5. I feel like this line is just a little bit too high for Jaren Jackson Jr. And when it comes to the New Orleans Pelicans, one position that they lock up is the power forward position. They're not a great defensive team, but at the power forward position, they give up the fewest points per game in the entire NBA. Herb Jones does a great job at playing defense, and he's just been absolutely locking up that power forward position. And I think that they're going to be able to do that once again today, as long as we don't see Herb Jones guarding like Ja or anybody else. So I think that we see a ton of value there. And then in the last 3 games, the New Orleans Pelicans have actually allowed the 3rd fewest points per game to opposing teams. So they've really decided to turn up the defense, and like I said, especially at the power forward position. So I think we see a ton of value there. And also the New Orleans Pelicans, they're 23rd in the NBA in pace, so they play at a really slow pace. And Memphis, in their last 3 games, they are down to 15th in pace, which is a huge drop from what they are overall. Overall, they're 6th fastest, but they have dropped all the way down to 15. So they're starting to play a little bit slower. And the Pelicans are really good at defense at the power forward position, and they've started to pick up defense pretty quite a bit here. So there's nothing but positives on this bet. So I love our chances here. So we're going to be taking Jaren Jackson Jr. under 15.5 points versus the New Orleans Pelicans at -110 odds. Our second play of the day is going to be Terry Rozier over 20.5 points versus Brooklyn at -115 odds. Terry Rozier, he's been really good at scoring the basketball recently. He's covered in 2 straight games, and he's covered in 4 of his last 5. So he's been really solid recently, and he's also on the road this year. They Brooklyn Nets, they actually give up the 10th most points per game to opposing teams on the road. So they're not a very good road defensive team just in general. And Charlotte, as we all know, they are a high-powered offense. They allow the most, or they get score the most points per game in the entire NBA. So they have nothing but scoring on this team. So I think that Rozier is going to get a lot of those shots. And Charlotte also plays at the fastest pace in the entire NBA. So they're going to be getting up and down, shooting a lot of shots. And so we're going to hope that a lot of those are in Terry Rozier's hands. So that is going to be our second play of the day. Terry Rozier over 20.5 points versus Brooklyn at -115 odds. Our third play of the day is going to be Evan Mobley over 10.5 rebounds versus Indiana Pacers at -120 odds. Now, he's only cashed this in 2 of his last 5. But if you guys haven't really heard, Jared Allen, he did end up breaking his finger, and so he is going to be out for some time. So they're going to be without Jared Allen, and I don't exactly know how the rotation is going to work. I would assume Evan Mobley probably sees the center position, and that makes me like this bet even more. In their last game out, Evan Mobley did have 17 rebounds, with Jared Allen missing most of it because he got kneed in his thigh. But last game that Evan Mobley played without Jared Allen, he actually had 12 rebounds. So he was able to get a lot of rebounds without Jared Allen. And I think that they're going to be doing that once again. I think that he's going to be able to get a lot of these rebounds, especially without Jared Allen being on the floor to take those away. And in the last 3 games, the New York Knicks, they have given up the 13th most rebounds per game in the entire NBA. And if you look at the center position, their game log versus the Indiana Pacers, Isaiah Stewart, he had 13, and then they played the Magic twice. So Mo Bamba had 12 and 10, respectively. And they also had, and then Wendell Carter Jr., he also had 18 and 12. So they've been really good. The center position, and Robert Williams, he also had 11. So the centers against the Indiana Pacers recently have been killing this line. And so I think that we're going to be seeing more of that with Evan Mobley today. So we're going to be taking Evan Mobley over 10.5 rebounds versus Indiana at -120 odds. And then our college play of the day, we're going to be taking Clemson -5.5 versus NC State at -110 odds. Clemson, they've been more of the red-hot team recently, and that's all it really matters when it comes to these tournament play games. Clemson has covered in 3 of their last 4 games, and at neutral site games, they are 2-1-1 against the spread. And as a favorite this year, they are 10-7 against the spread. So pretty solid numbers there. Now, at NC State, on the other hand, they have just covered in only 1 of their last 11 games. And at neutral sites this year, they are 1-3 against the spread. And just overall, NC State has not had a very good year this year. They are just 7-24 against the spread. So I think we see a ton of value here for Clemson. So that's going to be our 4th and final play of the day. Clemson -5.5 versus NC State at -110 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. Like I said, the parlay is going to be coming tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. But I just didn't love the games today, and there's no reason to force anything, especially if there's absolutely no shot of it hitting. So didn't love too much. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.